The 2VQs are all about two, and it's romantic that way, the 2VQs. They really don't like to be alone whatsoever. They want to be with someone else. It makes total numerological sense, right? Well, one person can stand alone. A two is all about two. And it's really about feelings. A 2VQ feels you. A 2VQ feels everything. And so the maturity mark for a 2VQ is whether or not you are on top of your own feelings. You have to feel good on your own. A lot of 2VQs are born into kind of strange situations where everyone around them doesn't feel good, and so the 2VQ will real quickly get kind of codependent on other people around them feeling good so they can feel good. So the maturity mark is that you know how to make yourself feel good and that you're not chasing after other people to feel good on your own. Now, what 2VQs tend to chase after are people that don't feel good, or people that want to feel more, people who want a lot of passion, or people who are very passionate. So the 2VQs tend to really connect to they make a party out of any situation. I find the 2VQs really, because of their emotional abilities, I find that they really connect to all the other Venuses and all of the Mars quotients to the MQs. So it's a matter of your own particular flavor. But one of the clear issues with the 2VQs is that they tend to be attracted to people who have emotional problems, either people who are emotionally shut off or people who don't know how to manage their own emotions. And so this is why it's super important that your own emotions are okay before you get in a situation. It's not really okay to carry someone emotionally, but it is, of course, okay to teach them how to deal with their emotions based on, of course, you knowing how to deal with yours, right? The focus of a 2VQ is feeling good, always. And passion is the next level from that. So a 2VQ is always looking to kind of plan the feelings of love. That would be the feeling of the sheets and the feeling of the morning and the feeling of the connection. It's all about the feelings. If anything, the 2VQs need to be careful about being a little too emotionally sensitive at times, and this happens when you're not managing your own emotions and being there for yourself. But the focus is always on feeling good. That's the number one focus, and you have to ask yourself as a 2VQ, do you feel good? Do you feel okay each day when you go out in your life? Because whenever you're doing love business, remember, life is love business. Everything in life is the business of love. So you actually have to make sure you're feeling good before you do business with anybody when you're a 2VQ. So there's a lot of self-pampering with 2VQs. There's a lot of a lot of just affection that's necessary, regular sleep, all the things that a baby would need for their emotional feel, a 2VQ would need. The emotional personality of a 2VQ is very responsive, very caring, very empathetic, quite empathic also. 2VQs tend to be emotionally psychic. They can tell how other people are feeling. This is another reason why your own emotions have to be really square, because that way you know you're getting a solid read on someone else's emotions. If you're not feeling good and then you're picking up on someone else, it starts to get difficult to separate the two. So the emotional personality is usually very, very nice and sweet most of the time and caring, except when you're not feeling good, then the personality would be kind of drastic and negative usually. The defensiveness of emotional 2VQs is usually a little over-defensive at times or not defensive at all. Because it's all about feeling good, it's all about connecting and feeling good, the 2VQs often tend to be not defensive at all. They go right in without protecting themselves. They go right in without thinking, and then often get burned. So it's important for you to be more mindful of protecting your own feelings before going into a situation, to defend yourself and your feelings over the first time it happens with somebody, not wait a number of times. And what's most important as far as defensiveness with 2VQs is to put your own feelings and defending your own feelings first over anyone else's. So you have to make sure you're defended first. The likeliness of a 2VQ to commit is through the book, like through the roof. In fact, 2VQs are a little overly committed. That's because when it feels good, you tend to stay connected to something. What's surprising is that you will often stay connected to something that feels good maybe one day of the week and feels bad 6 days of the week. And so the 2 VQs often allow feelings to manipulate themselves, and they get caught up in commitments due to the fact that they are listening to their feelings, and so they get kind of unexpectedly committed. They get themselves attached into a situation, and because you emotionally get connected, it's harder to disconnect. So I would say 2 VQs get unofficially committed quite often. In bed, the 2 VQs are actually kind of interesting because they enjoy to disconnect from their feelings for a bit. So the 2 VQs can actually get a little bit staccato, a little bit mental, a little bit freaky. They tend to be able to connect to anybody sexually and be able to be passionate in sexual connections. Of course, emotion is extremely important, but what's interesting about the 2 VQs is that they will make sure that they can emotionally connect to the person before they connect sexually, but then once they do connect sexually, they can go kind of cold or disconnect, or maybe not be so emotional in the actual act. So it's kind of funny. We tend to want to be what we're not in bed. What 2 VQs add is always a crowd to the situation. They always add a lot of feeling and emotion and warmth and depth and personality, and they always add a lot of family feeling to the personality. So they add a lot to people who are looking for families, or who are looking to connect, or who are looking to have more than just themselves. So 2 VQs really make it feel like a family. Now, if you have 2 in the first quotient number of the VQ algorithm, and the first quotient number is the master number, then that means you truly are a master, because you must master your emotions if 2 is the first number of your VQ algorithm. So it's important to know, very important to know, that you must be there for yourself emotionally when 2 is in that first place, and that you must make sure you feel good before you ever connect to anyone else, even on a daily basis. So before you talk to your kids, or before you talk to your husband or wife, you want to make sure you feel good. That's when you have the 2 there, whether or not you're a 2 VQ or not. Anyone with a 2 must have the emotional placement there and strong. If you have a 2 in the very last placement, which is the proficient number, master then proficient, this must mean you must be proficient at your emotions in relationships, which means you may not have 2s anywhere else in your algorithm, but you have 2 at the very last number, the proficient number, which means in the very last moment you must be very aware of your emotions when connecting to others. You must be aware of how you feel at all moments, because you can tend, the connection is emotional for you, the very last moment is, and so you can get lost in that one little moment if you're not clear on who you are going into it from the get-go. So when you have 2 at the proficient number, you want to make sure you're very self-aware of your emotion. With all of the 2 VQs, you want to be self-aware of your feelings and be on top of your feelings before you move forward. So for people who subscribe to GA Venus, what I do with the 2 VQs is do a lot of extra pampering for you in the program. The program is designed to give you extra awareness around your emotions and your feelings, to give you some tools to map out your feelings, and also to help you start to map how you feel with yourself and others. So when it comes to coming together in partnerships, you really do create a soup, whatever you are. So in GA Venus, when I'm watching over people on a daily basis who are 2 VQs, we're going to approach everything from a feeling base, and I'm going to be constantly checking in on how you feel. All right, thanks for clicking. So